All right. So, as promised, I said that I would go and make a video for you guys. So, this is Lost at Sea, navigating the creation of digital escape experiences. And so you can kind of see and be able to stop and pause. I'm going to go ahead and walk through the steps so that you can see them. And then as you're working through this, you can refer back to this set of slides. I will put it in the description so that you have it, and you will be able to pause and stop and do this at your own pace. So I am going to go ahead and hit new and make a new Google slide. All of my information as well as this video will be at mltiescape.my.canva.site. There's lots of information there for you to check out so that you have that. We have the different phases. So we'll go through phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the extras are on phase 5, which is on the website. So phase 1 was the escape room. So this, like I said, is on the website where you're going to go and you're going to click. It is MLTI escape room, or sorry, MLTI escape.my.canva site. And you can go ahead and check this out. And I'll post a little link where you can check your answers afterwards if you weren't sure and how to get those. So all of that is available right on. Back to my untitled document and let's get moving. I ask you to notice different things. So when you're looking at that escape room, think about how you're clicking through it, all of that good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and create. We're going to create slides 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 4 is a puzzle. So the very first thing is we created a slide deck. Again, we went to new, Google Slides, and then it popped up a new one. I'm going to go ahead and type in escape room so that I know that this has a title for later on. I clicked off that menu because I don't want it. The next step is to be adding slides. And on this menu right here, there's a toggle button. I want my slides to have nothing on them. So I'm going to go through and hit blank slide. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add about 7 of those slides so that I have them for what I need. And remember, if this is too fast for you, you can hit pause and do it at your own pace. All right. Next up, so slide 1 is our directions. And so that's something that you can go and copy and paste from my slides. But what I'm going to do is we're just going to put a holder there. So I already have kind of this in. I'm going to double click on one of the boxes and type in directions. And that's something that once you get familiar with Google Slides, you can go ahead and fix that later and make it look the way you want. If you want and you like the idea of my slide deck, you can go and copy and paste that in here. And so those are all things that you can do to enhance your cool thing. The next slide is our story slide. We're going to go ahead, we're going to click on this box right here, which is our text box. It's going to give us a T, and I'm going to go ahead and click and hold and stretch out. If you're on the iPad, you're doing this on the screen. It's going to give me a place that I can type. So I'm going to type story. Now that I have that, I can manipulate that by highlighting it. And then I have a menu up here. Yours is probably stretched out because it's full screen. I can pick all the different things I want here. So I'm going to choose a different font. This is a little small. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus button to make it bigger. I could also choose one of those or type in a number. I can make it bold. I can change the color by clicking the A with the underline. Let's make it blue. I can change the alignment. center it. And then once I have it the way I want, I can click and I can move it around. And again, for your story, this is a slide that you'll fill in later once you know what your slide deck, what you want your story and everything to look like. If you come over here and you scroll down to story creation, this is a great place to kind of map out your puzzles. And then here's all kinds of different stories that you could do, or you can come up with your own. So now that we have a holding place for our directions and our stories, there's that slide that you can grab later. We're going to go ahead and do slide 3. So for this slide, this is our home slide, our main room, and we're going to add a background, add images. We'll add our links later. We're going to make sure that it has the buttons that it needs. So let's go ahead and do that. So in order to add a background, I come up to my toolbox here and I'm going to click backgrounds. So when I click backgrounds, up this menu is going to pop. And I have a couple options here. If I just wanted a color, I could absolutely just pick a color, but I'm going to go a little bit more exciting and I'm going to choose an image. When I choose an image, I've got a couple options here. If I wanted to upload pictures, I could absolutely do that and snag something that I've saved. But I want to come over here to Google Images. And because I'm doing the ocean, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to type in ocean floor. And then hit enter. And I've got all of these different options to choose from. So I can, maybe I want this one, but if I don't want that one, I can just click on another one. So there's all kinds of things here. So as I'm looking through, I'm going to find one that I really like. Let's see what we've got. I like this one. And then once I have that and it's clicked and highlighted, I'm going to go insert. This menu kind of is still up, so I'm going to hit done, and there is my home screen, my main page, the background. So I have that in there, and I can add a background like that to any slide that I need to. It is the same for each slide that you're going to do. Let's add some images. So on my page, I want some images. I'm going to want some that will be linked to other things. I'm going to want some that might just be pretty. So I'm going to go up here and above my toolbar, I have kind of these menu items. I'm going to click insert, image, search web. When I do that, I get kind of this search bar over here. And I'm going to search in Google and I'm going to search ocean animals. And a little tip that is super helpful is that sometimes you don't want to have your images to have backgrounds. So if you type in the word transparent, that will help you to get it so it doesn't have backgrounds. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this guy. I like this one. Even though I typed this in there, it is going to come up sometimes, and I just wouldn't choose those, the ones that have the background. You could if you wanted to, that's up to you. I'm going to choose the fishy. Let's see, I'm going to choose a couple. So I also I like this little guy right here. So once I have the ones that I like, I'm going to click insert. You'll notice they all ended up without a background. Sometimes that doesn't happen. And if I have one I don't like, I can kind of click off it. You'll notice at first they're all highlighted. So I'm going to click off the screen and then just click on one, and I can use the corners to resize. If you use kind of these side ones, it will flatten the image out. So just be aware that to keep the same ratio, you're probably going to want to use those corners. So there's that. I'm going to just resize some of these guys. Put this guy over here so I can move them about and put them where I want them to go. And so once I have that all settled, that's how I'm going to add images. If I didn't have enough or I didn't like them, if I didn't like this guy, I can click on him and hit delete and he'll go away. But then if I'm like, oh, I really wanted him, I can go back to insert, search web. This search is already there, or I could have a new search. So let's say that I wanted a star. Instead, I could do the same thing and I can pop and open a starfish. I'm going to insert. Hopefully it has no background. See how that one came up? And even though I typed transparent, still had a background. I'm going to get rid of that. and I will find one that doesn't. There we go. And then I can resize that and put that where I want it. So now that I've got a background and I've got images, I also want to add a button. So this might be a button to directions. It might be a button for the story, or it might be a button just to go to a puzzle. You get to choose that. In order to make a button, I'm going to go up to the shapes right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this shape and all kinds of different shapes. I'm going to add a button that has a rectangle with rounded edges. So I'll go ahead and click that. It's going to give you that plus, and I'm going to kind of stretch it out, hold and stretch out, and there's my button. I'm going to double click on that, and I am going to write directions. And that can go back to my direction slide up here. I don't like how it went in there, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. And then just like before with my text box, I can change the font. I can make it bigger. I can change the color. Blue. And then I can go, I'm going to make it bold too. I can make it one step further and I can fill the inside of this button. So right here is the fill bucket. And I'm going to go ahead and put like a light blue back there. And then I have a button and I can move that around and put it where I want. I think I also wanted it to be in centered so that that looks good. And then if this is too big or too small, I can always make it bigger or smaller. If I make it so small and that my font doesn't fit, I can always come back up and make my font smaller so that it does fit. So we'll put our little direction button over here. So that's adding a button. So next up, we're going to work off slide 4 and we're going to add a puzzle slide. So a puzzle slide is going to be linked to one of the items. I'm going to link it to the whale. And it could be anything that you have to figure out. So a combination, a 3-digit, 4-digit, a letter, a word, a direction, color combinations, anything that's short and could be put into a Google document. A Google form. That should say Google form. That is kind of what a puzzle could be. It could be multiple steps, lots of different ways to do puzzles. And on the web page, I have different puzzle ideas, codes, and ciphers. And again, there's that reminder of what puzzles could be. So lots of different options there and some how-tos to do that. So let's go to slide 4. This is going to be very familiar, so I'm going to go through it rather fast because we're going to add backgrounds. We're going to add images. We're going to make sure there's a home button there. So lots of things that we're going to do here that we've already done. So I'm clicking on slide 4. I'm going to go to background. I'm going to go to choose image. Up comes my previous one. If you remember right, in my escape room, I had a for my escape room that I have a link to, I had a world map. So I'm going to do a search for that and see what I can find. I really like this one, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it and insert. Remember, this is still up there, so I'm going to hit done. And there is my world map as my background. I'm going to plug in some images. I want some images, so I'm going to go insert image, search web. I want some that are just for kind of pretty and makes the background look good. So I'm going to do octopus transparent. Let's find a cool little octopus. I really like this guy. I'm going to click on him and click insert. And he has a background. So I'm going to find a different one. I just hit delete. Over to search the web, and let's find a different one that hopefully doesn't have a background. I like this. Well, the blue might blend into the back. How about this guy right here? I'm going to insert. Oh, it looks like I got both of them. This one didn't work out anyways because he had a background. This guy's all set. I'm going to resize him by grabbing those corners, and I'm going to for decoration. I could absolutely add other pictures and elements if I wanted to. I'm going to add a text box, and I'm going to put in the text box, how many oceans are there? That was part of my original escape room. Remember, just like before, our escape room, our text box is not what we wanted. So I'm going to highlight. I'm going to change my font. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then that dark font does not show through. So I am going to make it a color. So there we go. Now this needs a couple buttons. It needs a home button and it needs a button for my Google form. So I'm actually going to come back here because my turtle here was my plan for my Google form. So I'm going to come back to slide 3. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go edit, copy, come over to slide 4 and go edit, paste. And now I have my little button there for my Google slide and I can, or Google form, and I can put him anywhere that I want. I'm going to put him over here. Oh, no, I kind of do like him over here. I also want a home button. This one back on slide 3 says directions, but I'm going to click on it, edit, copy, and then bring it over here and do edit, paste. But this time I'm going to highlight the words and get rid of them and say home. And so now that's a lot easier to do because it's already got the colors that I want. I can move things around so I can kind of see them. I think I want this guy over here and maybe even just a little bit smaller. So you can see as you make things and making decisions, you've got all of that. So now I've got a home button and a Google form button. That's going to go on every slide, but not quite yet. I'm going to show you a little trick with that later. So up next is puzzle making. So I put this in here just to remind you about how to make puzzles. It is on the slide deck for puzzles ideas, and then the creation slide of kind of working through that is there for you to have. Next up, so we have done our first 2 slides. We've done a home slide and then we've done a puzzle. So now we're going to do a little bit of linking so that we have it. So we're going to link, hide, and skip so that our classroom, our escape room really does work. So the first thing is we're going to come back to slide 3 and we're going to link our whale to our first puzzle. So I'm going to go ahead and click on our whale. I'm going to go up to insert and go all the way down to link. And when I do that, you have a couple options. You have a URL, which we'll do later, but not right now. You have next slide and first slide. You don't want to click on these ones because sometimes you might change your order of your slides. And if you do that, these ones won't stay consistent. So if you come down here where it says slides in this presentation and click that, and we want it to be linked to slide 4, even if there's other ones that change here, it will always be linked to that slide, even if that slide is called something else. Now, I know this works because this little menu comes up, and when I click on it, it goes to slide 4. So I need to do 2 other kind of links. If I wanted these to go to different puzzles, eventually I might do that. You can kind of figure out how you want your escape room figured out. I'm going to come over here to slide 4 and I'm going to click on my home button and I'm going to go up to insert and go down to link. And I've got, again, slides in this presentation. So I'm going to click on that and I want it to be clicked back to slide 3. Now this home button, I'm going to want it on every slide that's not home. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on it, go edit, copy, come over to slide 5, edit, paste. And notice that it did it with the link. So now my home button is always going to be linked back to that. I'm going to come up to slide 6, go edit, paste. There it is. Slide 7, edit, paste. So now I have a home button on each one of my puzzles, and they are all linked back to slide 3, and life is good. There's my home button description. The other button that I need is a Google slide. So we're actually going to create a Google form. I keep doing that. We're going to need a Google form. So we're going to go up to your drive. We're going to click on new. We're going to go down to Google Forms and come over because we want a blank form. You're going to want to name your form. So I'm going to do it up here because it will automatically change it here. So I'm going to go escape from. I'm going to come over here to this little thing that looks like a paper airplane. It says send. I'm going to click on it. And then right here, I'm going to click on this link, and I have a link to my Google form. I'm going to hit copy, and now it is copied. I'm going to come back to my escape room. I'm going to click on my turtle. I'm going to go to insert and link. And this is a feature of Google Slides that I don't like, because sometimes it covers it up. You could hit tab until you kind of get there. If you can't do that because you're on another device, you can always move him up too, and then just do insert link, and it's where it needs to be. So this time, instead of clicking on slides and presentation, we're going to paste our URL right here. So we're going to go right click, paste, and then apply. And now when I click this, it's going to take us to our Google form. So again, I'm going to come back here. I want this little guy on every slide. So I'm going to make sure he's clicked on. I'm going to go edit, copy. Now, if you remember right, I showed you him here. He's not linked here. So I'm going to click on him and hit delete. And then I'm going to go edit, paste. I do want him a little bit smaller, kind of put him into place. Now that I've got him a little bit smaller, I'm going to copy him again, and I'm going to put him on every page that I need him on. Notice he's pasting right with the link. And so later on, when I do these slides, I don't have to worry about them. So that is the Google form. All right. This next part is a little tricky, and it's what makes it so that you can click around and it won't go forward or back. It only goes to where it needs to go. So I am going to kind of watch this video, make it big. This is about layers. So you think you have one layer, maybe this is an image, and then you have something else on it. Maybe you have text. Maybe it's on the side. Maybe it's something different. If you put your fork underneath, you won't be able to see it. So you can kind of see how the different layers works. And then what I love about this is the last little part is kind of putting something. So there's adding all those layers. I'll slow down a little bit. Putting something over the whole top so you can still see it, but everything else is there. So you can kind of see that we've got different layers, and we're going to use that. So let me come back here. And the way I'm going to hit pause, the way that we're going to do this is we're going to come up here to our shapes, and we're going to click on shapes. And this one, you have to choose the rectangle. I'm going to go and I'm going to put a big rectangle, almost like not just over the slide, but a little bit over the slide, so that it's on the outer edge. So now I just have a big gray rectangle. It is highlighted. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to change the order to send to the back. And now I see my rectangle, and I see my different pieces that I made. Some of these pieces are linked and some of them are not. The only ones that I want on top of the gray rectangle are the ones that are linked. So this one's linked and this one's linked. If I had links on these, I'd also want them on the top, but I don't right now. So I want them on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to order and I'm just going to send them to the back. And you can see it's still there, but it's in the back of the gray. I'm going to do that with this guy, order, send to back. And I'm also going to do that because this doesn't, it would have a link, but it doesn't right now. So I'm going to order, send to back. And now my two things that have links are in the front of this thing right here. So now the other piece that I need to do is take my big gray square and I need to link it to myself. So I need to link it to slide 3 so that when I click around, it always leads it back to itself. And so you can click anywhere you want, but it's just going to click back to that slide. Unless I click on these and then it will take me where I need to. So I'm going to click on my gray slide, go up to insert, go to link, and then I'm going to hit the tab button. And then this is slide 3. So I'm linking it back on itself. And now that's good. Now the problem becomes is that I had a nice, beautiful background and I had all these pictures. So I have to change this shape. I'm going to come up here to the fill color and I'm going to come down to transparent. And now life is good. So now if I share this and I click all around here, nothing happens because really I'm just clicking back to slide 3. If I click on this guy, nothing happens because they're behind that layer. If I click on the whale, it goes where I want it to go. So notice, remember, we have a couple other slides and we haven't done that here. So when I click, if I don't do that, it's just going to go to the next slide. So that's why it has to be done in each slide. So I'd also have to do that here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that one more time. Go to shapes, rectangle, make a big, huge rectangle. Whoops, that didn't like me. Let's try again. Rectangle. There we go. I'm going to right click. I'm going to put the order to the back. This guy needs to be behind that. So I'm going to send him to the back. The words need to be on the back. And then here are my 2 buttons that I want on the front. My rectangle, I want to make sure I'm going to insert link. And I'm going to link that. This time it's to itself, which is slide 4. And then I don't like that it's gray. I'm going to come up here to the fill bucket and I'm going to make it print. And then life is good. So I would do that for each one of my slides in my escape room. Usually it's the last step that I do because then I know what's going on top and what's going underneath. Shortcuts and different things with your different devices. The other tool that helps, because the other way to navigate slides when it's in presentation mode is this little thing right here. And so you don't want to be able to hit the next and go to the next puzzle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide these slides. Or skip these slides. In order to do that, I'm going to click on slide 4. I'm going to right click and skip slide. And you know it's skipped because you've got that little kind of skip thing. That doesn't mean I can't click on it and edit and do all kinds of things still. It just means that that's skipped so that when I hit the next button, it's not going to go to that. You want to make sure that each of your puzzle slides is skipped so that people can't get to them. So even if I'm going to present again, even if I'm here, I can't hit the next button. I can go back, right? That's okay. But I can't hit the next button. In order to go to that next puzzle, I have to click on the place that I want it to go. All right. That is skip. Phase 4 is our Google form and share. So this is the last part of the video that I will do. So let's look at come back to your escape. So we want to be in the form here. And so A couple things with this, you want to make sure that your questions and things like that are words or combinations in order for people to figure them out. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say 5-letter word. And then I like to put in here all caps so that they know exactly what it is. I'm going to make sure that it's a short answer. I'm going to make sure it's required, but then I have to have an answer in here. So I'm going to hit these 3 little buttons right here, and I'm going to do response validation. Now, I'm looking for a word, so I have to change this one. So I have to toggle down to texts. And then it does contain, so that's what I want. I want it to contain. And then I'm going to type in my answer, which is ocean. So ocean, and notice how I put it in all caps. And then this says custom error text. And I like to write in there, try again, all caps, because sometimes people forget. And so now that makes it so that when you come over here, let's refresh. If I do it in lowercase and try to submit, it's going to say try again, all caps. So I would need to have it in all caps in order for it to work. The next part that I'm going to do is I need in my form, I might just make this a little bit bigger so we can see this, is the next part, and all these directions are in my slide. I'm going to click on this part right here, which is add selection, because I want to answer this and then go to the next selection. So I'm going to change this selection title to part 2. And then I don't need to worry about description, but I do need another question. So I'm going to hit the plus button. And then I'm going to ask for a 4-digit combination, no spaces. And so this one's a number. So when I do a number, I still want this to be short answer. I still want it to be required. And then I'm going to hit the 3 dots and go response validation. And this one, I want it to stay a number. And I want it to be equal to. And so if my number is 1, 2, 3, 4, I can do try again, no spaces. And that requires them that they have to be able to plug that in. This is my answer in order to get it. And then I would do for as many puzzles as I have, I would add another section, call it part 3, add another question until you're at the very end. And then at the very end, when they submit, because after this question you could submit, they will have won the escape room. And they know because they can't move on unless the answer is right. So that is our Google form. Those directions are all there. And now that you have all of that, you need to be able to share this a little bit, because if you share it like this, then people can click all around and it's not so hidden. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up, and mine is squished up because of the fact that I've got a split screen, but you're going to hit the share button that looks like this. And when you do that, you are going to get a link. And so when you get a link, you're going to want to change a couple things. First of all, you don't want it restricted because people won't be able to see it. You want to click anyone with the link, and you want it to be viewing. And then I'm going to copy the link. I actually like to just go back here in my speaker notes because it's a nice little place that I can see. So I'll click along, and I'm going to click on my speaker notes, and I'm going to edit, paste. It's a nice little place I can work. And so what you'll notice is that we've got this big, long URL, and I think probably can't even see how long it is because my thing. So we've got all of this, and there's one word in here where it says edit. And sometimes there's longer after that, sometimes it's not. But we are going to take that one word, just that word edit, and instead of edit, we are going to write the words present. because that's what we want it to do, is we want it to present. And now that's your link. And when you share that link with people, I'm going to copy it and put it here. It's going to give me my slides. And so there this is. Remember, I can't click around here until I click this guy. Even though I have this, oops, so even though I have that, I think I might have unskipped them. I can't move ahead there. So there's lots of different navigation and things that we've done here to make sure that it works. So that, my friends, I think that is my last slide. Phase 5, that's right. Phase 5 is all on the website. So I'm not going to give you details for this. This is all directions. You can add a GIF, so you have a moving picture. You can link a GIF to something. This is a really neat video that allows you to, teaches you how to make a keypad. There is directions to add a video. You can link images or buttons to another slide deck. This one's really cool. You can have a hidden reveal. I'm going to click up here on puzzle ideas because this whole slide deck gives you that much more. It will talk about how to link to another slide deck so that if you had just a one slide deck, you could have something like this and someone could, whoops. You could have a puzzle and they can move it around and have to put those in order. So that's kind of cool. There's directions for that. There's all kinds of neat, like you could do an acrostic poem. There's stuff for puzzles. There's stuff for different documents you could create. There's a red reveal tool. There's mazes, there's pictures, there's so much on this. And if that is not enough, there's also a slide deck with codes and ciphers that you can put in and kind of check this out with, I think there's like 10, maybe more of different codes and ciphers that you could have someone figure out with a message and be one of your puzzles there. So there's lots of stuff in this website. This slide deck is in the description of this video. So I hope you have fun creating. Have a good day.